Welcome to this edition of Here's to Your Health. I'm your host, Josh Lane. As nutrition, the importance of nutrition becomes more and more mainstream, various innovators, herbalists, teachers have been introducing medicinal plants to our use that maybe were used by small numbers of people, but now, based on science, my guest is Julian Tcherassi, who introduced, if I pronounce it correctly, palo azul tea. It's called Magiktea, that's his company. And this tea actually, because I actually saw this demonstrated, it actually gives a blue fluorescent color from the bark of the tea when you shine a certain light on it. And it has more antioxidants, get this, more antioxidants than green tea, way more. And so this is an important medicinal herb. Julian, welcome to the show.
Hi, Joshua. Thank you for having me.
No, very happy to have you on. I gave that little brief intro. So please tell the listeners about your tea company, about the Magiktea, and if I pronounce it correctly, palo azul tea. Is that how, am I pronouncing it correctly?
Yeah, that's perfect, actually.
Okay.
In Spanish, they say palo azul, which is a little different, but in English, I usually just call it palo azul. But basically, palo azul means blue wood in Spanish, because as you saw when I showed it to you, it's a wood that you boil in water, and it has this blue fluorescent color, basically due to those antioxidants. So the reason that it's blue is because it has nutrients that are called polyphenols, which are also found in green tea. But like you mentioned, studies show that palo azul has around 8 times more polyphenols than green tea. And interestingly, that's what gives it the color. So that's where it gets the name blue wood. And that's mainly why people drink it in Mexico for kidney health and liver health.
Boy, that's impressive. Our guest is Julian Tcherassi, and he is the founder of the Magiktea Company, which is the palo azul, the blue tea. And so this really it's really lovely when one individual can introduce something that could become a very important item. Because I do remember when matcha tea was only used and only sold at Japanese grocery stores here in the United States, and now matcha tea is used in the United States, Canada, Europe, internationally, and that was only introduced to us, 12 or 13 years ago. So I want to point out that sometimes one individual can make a huge difference in how people view and use nutrition. And I think Julian is in that spot right now. So Julian, when did you become aware of I'll pronounce it in English, the palo azul tea?
Well, thank you for that, Joshua. And you're right. Sometimes that's what it takes for the whole world to sort of discover something new. And that's kind of what has happened in the US with other products as well. But the way I discovered it was when I was in a band around 10 years ago playing guitar. And I was talking with the singer, and the singer is from Mexico, and he told me about this wood that he used to pass kidney stones. Huh. And this is the palo azul wood, and he told me it turns blue, so I was like, show me. And he basically just showed me the blue color like I showed you with an iPhone flashlight. You put it in a glass cup, and since it's fluorescent, you can put it in the sun, and it'll turn blue. But you can also shine a flashlight on it. Your phone's flashlight works well, and that'll show the blue fluorescence. So that made me curious when I was like 20 years old. That's when that happened. So I started reading about it, about what made it blue, what made it fluorescent. I learned all about like polyphenols and fluorescence in nature and what makes it healthy. I read all the studies and I found that it has like these polyphenols that make it anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, antimicrobial, liver protective, renal protective, anti-diabetic. So that's why people in Mexico also drink it for diabetes, arthritis, or mainly kidney health, so they call it kidney wood. And that's why I ended up starting to drink the tea just as a young person. Every time I kind of drank alcohol or consumed processed food or something, anything that would cause inflammation or oxidative stress in my body, I would drink the tea before or after because I read the studies and I knew that it inhibited oxidative stress and inflammation and it would make me feel better. So I just drank it for myself in the beginning. I had no intention to start a tea company. I was just playing music.
Julian is our guest, and Julian founded the Magiktea Company, which is a palo azul tea, a blue fluorescent tea from the bark of the palo azul, rich in flavonoids and a lot of antioxidant activity, and has 8 times more polyphenols than green tea and has 0 caffeine. So, Julian, the tea that you source, is there a particular farm or farms that you use in Mexico?
So that's actually great that you asked it now because I was just in the ranch. Technically, it's a ranch last weekend. So I just visited for the first time, and it was like the most incredible experience ever. It's a certified organic farm, and I met the owners, the workers. I was there. It's like 12,000 acres. The
Wow.
palo azul tree grows all over Mexico in the desert areas. Fortunately, I was able to contact this ranch that has everything in it organic. So every plant, every herb, every animal that is sold from that ranch has the USDA organic seal. So finally, we got our USDA certification, USDA organic certification. So now our product will have the USDA seal, and we are officially the first and only certified organic palo azul. But it's basically a tree that grows in the desert. And in our website, you can see pictures of it or on Google. But it's incredible to see just how resilient some plants have become. So this tree, basically, what the ranchers were telling me, the owners of the ranch, is that the tree developed these nutrients because it's in such a stressful situation, because it's growing in the desert where there's very little water, also a lot of sunlight. So since it gets all this sunlight, the tree evolved these polyphenols to absorb high energy light, and that's why it's fluorescent. So that's where we get it from, and they're also just got wildlife friendly certified. So we will probably pursue that for our product as well, because that's also an important thing to just maintain the sustainability of this product. Because from the beginning, I always thought it's crazy that not a lot of people know about this tea. But imagine if a lot of people discover it. What if there's not enough? So I always had this concern, and that's why I asked them like, how many do you have? And they laughed. Actually, I remember they said we have like as much as you need, because now I see why they said that. Because when I showed up, I was like, oh my goodness, like 12,000 acres. This place is gigantic, and I'm driving around. It takes like an hour just to from one place to the other in the ranch, and the trees are just everywhere. So that's where we get it from, and I'm happy that we were able to find those partners because they really have that same passion for spreading wellness and also like maintaining the plant's sustainability, thriving, and like the ecosystem in the whole ranch is just basically synergistic. Every part of the ranch, every part of the plant, they even give it to the animals. So they give palo azul tea to the cows, and the cows they have told me that they literally they seek the palo azul. So they have like 2 different places where they drink water. One of them has palo azul, the other one is just water, and they go for the palo azul most of the time, and they have been getting less sick. They feel better. So it's all part of a system. We're all just kind of a team, I guess.
Our guest is Julian Tcherassi, and Julian has the Magiktea company, which is the Palo Azul tea, which is a blue fluorescent tea from the bark of the Palo Azul tree. And so, Julian, if I can ask a question about the Palo Azul tree, so how tall do they get, and how long does it take for them to mature before they start having the properties that you're looking for?
They grow as tall as around 20 feet, 20
Okay.
foot, I would
Ooh,
say.
okay. Wow.
And basically, the way they harvest it, they kind of just prune the trees and they grow back even stronger, they mentioned, within like a year or two. So they grow more branches, they grow stronger. The trees, since they are, the nutrients come from the hard part of the tree, the hard wood, actually. So I learned a lot in the trip when I visited, and they were telling me about everything about the tree, basically. So the wood, the hard part of the wood, is actually where the nutrients are, because that's where the sap is, and that's where all the polyphenols are, which studies show makes it liver protective, renal protective, etc. So that part it takes some years to develop, like over 5 years. So that's where the magic is. That's essentially what they provide us with that hard part of the wood. And what they do is they essentially just pick some trees from one area of the ranch, prune those trees. And since we are still relatively small, we're still a growing company, we are really only pruning like 3, 4 trees or so with every purchase order, which is like a ton or so, literally like
Wow.
a ton, a
Wow.
1,000 kilos. That's what we import.
Wow.
So yeah,
Okay.
for them, this has actually been just a helpful way to actually increase the biodiversity in the land, because when they prune the trees, also there's like cactus that grow right beside it that are also part of nature, and they are able to grow more as well when you kind of clear the area and just clean up the forest.
Wow. And Julian, how do we, who are interested in good tasting teas and good health, how do we use the tea? Do we drink 1 cup a day? I mean, what's the preparation?
The traditionally recommended amount and what I drink is around 1 to 3 cups per day. You can drink more if you want. I drink a lot more sometimes if I feel like it, because it's no caffeine, no calories, no sugar. There's no side effects. The only thing is that it's diuretic, so I would say maybe at night don't drink too much of it if you don't want to, or if you have trouble going to the bathroom at night. But you can drink 1 cup a day, and that's perfectly fine. A lot of people, from testimonials, they say that that's what they drink, and they say that they feel less bloated or less joint in the pains, or less pain in the joints. Sorry, or maybe they feel some improvement with their blood sugar levels, or kidney health, or UTIs. People say it clears UTIs in a heartbeat, and I experienced that, so
Wow.
I also vouch for that. So
Wow.
just 1 cup a day is enough, I would say.
And our guest is Julian Tcherassi with Magiktea, the Magic Tea Company, and they're the only people actually. This man is actually the let me use the word the discoverer. It's this is it's impressive. Palo azul, a blue tea, a blue fluorescent tea from the bark of the palo azul tree. So Julian, how do we purchase your tea, and where can we get this tea?
So you can get it on our website or on Amazon. You can just search for magiktea.com. It's Magiktea. So magic with a K. And there you can get it on Amazon. We have it in tea bags and also loose tea. The loose tea basically comes like I have been speaking about. It's a wood. So it comes in little pieces of wood, finely cut. And you make it just by boiling it in water, then you strain it out. And then there's tea bags, which are plant-based. So there's no microplastics, no bleach. They're biodegradable as well. And it's just one ingredient. So you can kind of see the little pieces of wood. And you make it like regular tea, just hot water. And there you go.
And how long do we let the Palo Azul tea steep for best results?
So ideally around 5 to 10 minutes. Since it's a wood, it requires a lot of heat. So I would say boiling water is the best. So the way that I personally make it is I use loose tea mostly. I put it in a pot, I bring it to a boil, let it boil for 1 or 2 minutes, and then just turn it off. Then you can just drink it whenever you can tolerate the heat, or you can just put it in the fridge after, which is what I do. I'll drink it hot as I prepared it, and then I just put it in a big pot in the fridge, and then I just have it cold to drink it throughout the week. So it makes it easy. I just wake up, I just have it there already made, and then I just drink a bunch of it sometimes because of that.
Okay, so on the Magic Tea, the Palo Azul tea, we can drink it hot or cold. It works equally well. Is that correct?
Yeah, hot or cold. Some people, I usually I serve it, as you remember, probably at events and demos both ways, so that people can taste it in both ways. Because some people only drink hot tea, they tell me, and some people they don't want to drink hot tea. So I prefer it cold mostly, but hot it's also nice. I think hot it tastes a little more earthy, so the flavor is very mild anyway. It just has like a soothing, like smooth, earthy, woodsy flavor. It's usually how people describe it. And some people say it's slightly sweet. I taste the sweetness because I don't really eat sugar or drink sugar anymore, so I've just become sensitized to that. But yeah, you can drink it hot or cold.
Our guest is Julian Tcherassi, and Julian is the inventor, put it that way, or the explorer, who's bringing us the Palo Azul tea, which gives a blue fluorescent color to the tea. And this magic tea is from the bark of the Palo Azul tree, which according to Julian grows to be 20, 25 feet tall. I did not know this. It's very impressive, actually. What really, let me say this once again, what one person can do to really influence large numbers of people in wellness. And I think Julian is in this position at this very moment. So, Julian, once again, how can listeners of Here's to Your Health purchase the Magiktea, the Palo Azul tea that you are introducing?
So you can get it on our website at magiktea.com. That's magic with a K, MAGIKTEA.com. And there you can see a bunch of pictures, videos, information, studies, testimonials as well of what people have benefited from drinking it. But yeah, there you can learn a lot more about Palo Azul.
Wow, that's impressive. I'm very happy to say that, Here's to Your Health breaks some very important news stories on wellness. And this Palo Azul tea, really, I mean, it's really directly related to the way we now use matcha green tea. And everyone says, oh, yes, of course we use matcha tea. We love it. But really, it was introduced, I know the fellow, John Harrison, who introduced it about, I don't know, was it 12 or 13 years ago from Japan. So this is really very impressive. This is Josh Lane. You're listening to Here's to Your Health. We'll take a short break, and we'll be right back after these important messages.